This episode is powered by Anivia Pickleball. Based in the heart of Vancouver, BC, whether you're new to the game or a seasoned vet, they have the paddle for you. I myself am currently using their Voltex Gen 3 Pro, which comes in both mid and lightweight. A big thank you for the team at Anivia for taking a chance on me in this podcast. And for listeners of the podcast, if you enter AGorman15 at checkout, you get 15% off. Check out Anivia.com now. That's AGORMAN 15 at checkout. On with the show. All right, welcome back, everyone. I am in a hotel room because I couldn't get home in time. Victor's resting comfortably at home, and also he is newly certified. How's it going, Victor?
Hey, everyone. Yeah, pretty good. Feeling good finally, right?
The stress is off now.
Yeah, the stress is definitely off now. It was a pretty stressful weekend, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I felt a little bit of stress too. Not as much as playing, but more so for just trying to get stuff organized because I had some people in the broadcast stuff bail on me, bail is not the right word. Sorry, they withdrew from the tournament, but because it was closer to last minute due to partner injury or whatever, it just messed me up for scheduling for broadcasting stuff for the YouTube stream.
Yeah, no problem. At least I was there for you on Friday.
Yeah, you carried the load for most of Friday, that's for sure. All right, so as the title of the podcast suggests, this is the recap of the 2024 Alberta Provincial Championships. So going right into it, we'll start. Let's start with you, Victor. Seeing how we already said it, you got your referee certification.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's the reason why I went actually. So I went there for the referee certification. For people that didn't know what it is, so in pickleball Canada and in pickleball USA, there is we call a tier system referee. At first, you are a volunteer referee, and then as you get more courses, get more mentorship, then you go to the next level. It's called level 1. And then the next level is called level 2. So the level system basically gives just meaning that you're doing better, you're able to see better, and they're gonna also give you more responsibility. So for a level 2 referee, usually you'll get all the way to bronze level match, and level 1 usually will not get to rep bronze medal match. And then now the certification, or some people call that as level 3 or CR, which is certified referee. Certified referee means that you're basically on the highest referee of in Canada and in United States. Basically, you got priority for all being selected for all big tournaments, so the nationals, the provincials, the regionals, and you also have priority to ref those high profile gold medal matches. So that's kind of a bonus. And on top of it, obviously, you have more responsibility and you have more expectation. The players and the referee also expect you to be able to see more things than usual.
Right on. So yeah, UE and CNPL, if you're listening, you now have another referee in Alberta for these upcoming events if you want to grab them.
Yeah, so I am in Canada the number 30th certified referee.
Awesome.
So that which is I made it to that even number, and we actually there's 2 referees going for certification. The other referee, I think her name was Sheila. She's coming from the Maritimes to get her certification, because in Canada we only have one evaluator, and she is Barbara Dueck. and she'll only unfortunately do certain tournaments in Canada. So therefore, that's why it's not easy to get your certification, because you need first of all you need to make the cut, and secondly you need to be right on time, where Barbara is there for you to rep those matches. And even so, what's the certification match, what they're doing, basically you have to do around 3 to 4 matches. So one match, regular match, could be 2 out of 3, or 1 to 15, but at least it has to be, you have to get 1 to 15. Have to get one match, has to be a gold medal match, and you have to have a match that is have stacking, basically. So they want to know are you able to pick up, like, people getting out of position, or are you able to get tracking the players being on the right position. I was lucky at some point. I was able to get my evaluation done very quickly, because I knew who were the player that was stacking. So we were already be able to jump in to see, oh, I need that match, because this match is going to be stacking. So reserve that match for us. And actually it turned out well. The true stacking match was called double stacking. So both teams were stacking. So it kind of turns out in some sort in my favor. And I passed with 97%.
Oh, that a boy. There you go. A
So
plus.
A plus. So which is a bonus. And now, yep, I am a white shirt.
Perfect. Yeah, and I got to see Victor. He didn't ref any of my matches, but I got to see him ref a couple as I was walking around the courts in between my games.
Thank you.
So that's awesome. So okay, so yeah, moving on to me for playing.
Yeah, how did you do? You got a couple of medals, Andrew?
I got one. I got bronze in men's 4.0 doubles with my partner Chris. This was me and Chris's first time playing together. We played against each other a bunch, both in singles and in doubles. Our first game, we were a little shaky. It's funny because both of us, I would say, are more kind of finesse / control players.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you could see it especially in our first game, where there was a spot during the match where one of us should have probably gotten a little bit more aggressive and tried to take a little bit more control of the match. Both of us were kind of looking to the other person to do it because that's what we're used to.
Gotcha.
So we lost our first game our first match in 3 games. Went down to the B side, but then worked our way all the back up to the bronze, and ended up the game before the bronze beating the team that beat us in that first game.
Nice.
So that worked out really well. And then in the bronze game, it was a fairly close match, but just couldn't get the flow going when it was our turn to serve, and lost that one. But I basically looked at that as positive. Basically, anytime I go to a tournament, if I get a podium finish, it makes it worth the drive. So and as we've all known from listening to this podcast, for me, like the minimum drive is 5 hours, and Red Deer is like 7.5 ish. So and then moving over to when me and Aireen play in mix, fell a little bit short. We lost in the bronze game, and on the Saturday, and we'll get more into this when we talk about the operation side of stuff, but Saturday, there was no way once you lost to come back up from the B side. So once you got to the bronze game, it was either you win bronze or if you lose, you get 4th. So we started that game off a little slow. And we ended up losing 18-16 in the one game to 15. And I'm going to put this a little bit on myself. I probably should have called a timeout a little bit quicker because Aireen was getting frustrated with the other team's out calls. I challenged 5 calls throughout the match, and every single time the ref didn't see them. So couldn't make a call on it, but it was making Aireen angrier and angrier because there was a few of them where she like yelled at them like, no, that's in. Right. And then I'd go to the ref and ref, did you see that? I'd like to challenge that. And they're like, no, I didn't see it. Type of thing. Right. So like I called a timeout, trying to calm her down. And then of course we're because we're a little bit rattled, we kind of let them jump ahead a little bit. We managed to claw our way back and tie it, but at that point, realistically, we probably should have won that game like 15-10, going off the skill of everybody involved, because it was still a good team, but with us getting rattled and a few mistakes here and there, we let them stay close. And once it gets to like 15-15, it's kind of anybody's game at that point.
Yeah.
Right. So a little disappointed with that. But like we still played really well. We won, what was it? We won our first game, and then we had to play Jacob and Shea as our second game, and Jacob and Shea were the ones who won the whole thing. And we're the only team that took a game from them. We went to 3 games, lost in the third. But if you look at the bracket, we're the only team that beat them.
No, good for you, because the final of that bracket.
I looked at it, and it was not a good final.
Oh, that was my final match that determined am I a CR or not.
Oh man,
I was expecting a high profile game. I was like, yeah, it's gonna be fun, and I was like, okay, let's just get over with. Just want to get my CR.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what happened.
So, and I think because of, I guess we'll sort of go into this. Every bracket on Saturday changed that double elimination setting to, hey, if you lose, the best you can do is bronze.
Yeah, exactly.
Right,
which is a little disappointing for people, I guess.
Basically, anybody who won bronze in that thing, you have the right to complain because you have an identical record to the silver team.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right. So, like, now we didn't win bronze. We didn't win that match anyways. But and I said to one of the organizers, I said, "Why did you guys do it?" "Oh, well, we want to end early because of the Saturday night social." And I'm like, "You are going to get so many complaints about that, dude. Like, it's like, as much as we liked the social, and like it was a good performance by Sean and like the grand dueling pianos.
Mm-hmm.
The food was good, but people aren't coming there for the social. They're coming there to play.
Exactly.
And especially at the higher levels, they're coming to try and compete and win. And the whole point of a double elimination bracket is that you can have that one bad game, but then you can bust your butt and get yourself back up to the gold. And then if you can beat that team twice, you've earned the gold, right? So, and I know for a few teams, after they lost that first game, even though they had a chance to go for bronze, they felt deflated. I was talking to a couple of teams. Now, me and Aireen didn't really feel that way. Like, I was pissed that first game after Jacob and Shea. Now, we still won that pretty handily. I think we won like 15-9 or something like that. But I know I was fuming because I was like, okay, I know I'm probably going to win at least. I said the only team that's going to give me trouble is in the bronze out of the rest of these teams I have to go through. Because it was basically, there was kind of 4 teams at the top when I looked at the brackets. And the way I would have originally ranked them was Jacob and Shea, me and Aireen, the team that came in silver, and then the team that ended up beating me and Aireen. If I was saying, okay, just looking at the brackets and looking at stats is how I would have ranked those. And I said, those 4 are going to compete for everything. Mm-hmm. Right? But because of the change in the double elimination, it also changes the way the bracket is set up. Because for some reason, us and Shea were on the same side of the bracket.
Yeah, which is odd because you should be second, right?
Yeah, and I think even with Jacob technically still being ranked 3.5 on brackets right now for mixed, because I think me and Aireen were one of the only teams that had both players ranked 4.0.
Okay.
So, like, realistically, if you look at it that way, we should have been at the top of the bracket. Jacob and Shea still should have been probably on the opposite side of the bracket, and then at best we met at the final. The way the bracket we would have met at semis, and then one of us has to win the bronze and come back up and play each other, right? So, but like I said, that had no effect on me and Aireen's performance in that bronze game. But I know for other people, after they lost that first game, they were like, well, best I could do is bronze. So they weren't as motivated. Like, you're still motivated to win, but there's that little thing where, hey, we can still possibly get to silver, or we can get to gold. Especially when you looked at some of the games on the Friday on the women's one. The women's 4.0, no, not 4.0. The women's 3.5. The team that lost in the finals, they lost their very first game and won 6 matches to get all the way back up to that gold medal game. Right? I'm like, that's that perseverance. So it's like, okay, we lost that first game, but we still have a chance, right? So you're going to keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
Exactly.
So I find that played a little bit of a mental effect. So you probably saw some teams win bronze, and look at teams that maybe lost 1 or 2 games before. You're like, I can't believe those guys didn't make it all the way to the bronze. But I'm thinking just because they were a little bit deflated because of that.
Well, for sure, and you change your mentality, right? Because like, if you're like a very like, if it was me, I lost my let's say I lost my first match, like the best I can do is bronze. So like, what's the point? I might continue to play. Sometimes some other people would think, well, what's the point? And I'm not gonna do as much. And it might also change your mentality when you play when you'll be playing. You'll be okay. Then I need to be more aggressive. I cannot lose, so
there's almost, you're putting more stress on yourself if you haven't lost yet, because you're like, well, if I lose, then it's all over. There's no chance for me to come back and get this gold medal. And the thing is the game we lost to Shay and Jacob was the semifinals. And then we still had to play 2 games to get to the bronze. Like, so if we would have beaten Shay and Jacob, we would have been in the gold medal match.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. So I'm like, well, that's technically semifinals. So why aren't we all of a sudden now on the other side of that bracket? Like, why did I have to play 2 more games to still get to bronze?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it was
really weird.
Yeah, it was a little weird for like mental preparation wise, but like I said, we let ourselves get rattled with the out calls that were happening. I probably should have called a timeout quicker because, like I said, Aireen was getting really flustered with it. And the funny thing was that most of the shots were mine; they weren't even hers that were getting called out. Like it was.
But at the same time, he has
the
the best view, right? Because you are the ones that had the shot, but she, as a partner, she's like tracking the ball, right?
Oh yeah. Well, there was a few where she was like, "Yeah," and the guy's like, "Out," and she's like, "No, that was it," like type thing like that, right? And then I would like go over to the ref and challenge it, and nothing doing, right? So yeah, so a little bit disappointed with that finish. Like 4th is still not bad. But I think that's only the 2nd time since we've been playing where we haven't medaled as a mixed pair.
Well, but technically, you actually make medal if they didn't do that. They didn't change that format. In theory, you should have got bronze regardless. In theory, because you're in semifinals. In theory, like the least you can do should be bronze, right?
Yes, right. So, and also because the semifinals were weird like that, where there was 4 teams in the semifinals, right? With the way that, because the bracket also would have been drawn up differently because for those reasons, right? So
yeah.
So it's just a weird thing, but like I'm like, you know what? I know we can beat that team. Like we kind of beat ourselves in that one, so I was frustrated for about a day after that. Like I was still frustrated the following day after singles, but it wasn't too bad. And then like for Aireen, she was playing women's. She actually went up into the women's open, playing with her regular partner Mai. The only team they lost to was Kim Layton and her partner Rajin. In the they played round robin, so they lost to them in the round robin. So then that second, so they went 3-1, and then they lost to them in the finals. It was straight sets, and I think what was it, 11-4, 11-4, something like that.
Something like that.
Because you were in the booth with me for that one. So, but like, it was funny because you can see the difference, right, in that match, especially between a pro and 3, 4, 5 players. Because like Rajin, Kim's partner, is definitely like 4-5, like a 4-0, 4-5. Mai's a 4-4-0, 4-5. Aireen's a 4-5, right? And then especially in the second set, the moment Kim Layton started getting going, I'm like, like. Just the precision and the less mistakes aren't there, right? Like the precision's there, and then the way fewer mistakes. Like Aireen and I were trying to ice Kim out. They were attacking Rajin a lot more. Kim knew when to step in and make herself a factor in that, and then even kind of goat them into then dinking to her to see if they could catch her off guard. It was almost like she was intentionally doing it, and then already stepping before they even got the ball over. Like she was playing the chess match. So like, and I said to her, and I said that was the only team I honestly wasn't sure if you'd be able to beat, because, and I said it's just such a jump from 4-5 to like 5-0 pro.
Yeah, right? It is a different level, and and on top of that, Kim is one of the top pro on top.
Yeah, it's not just she's a
pro. Exactly.
Yeah, she's not just a pro. She's like if we don't want to say number 1 in Canada, like 1, 2, 3, like exactly. Or top 5 if you want to. Like if you want to throw, if we're not going to count Catherine Parenteau, because obviously Catherine Parenteau would be number 1, but she doesn't really play in any tournaments in Canada.
Yeah, true.
And if we were to if we take Catherine Parenteau, the Walker sisters, and Hannah Blatt out, because they don't ever play in tournaments in Canada very often. So if we're just talking about the women who compete in the Canadian ones, so like nationals and stuff like that, it would be like your top 3, depending on everything, would be like Kim Layton, Christina Chin, Jessica Quanamoto, Maria Kokolitsky, like that would be kind of like your 4. And then you'd probably throw Casey Rogers or something like that in there, right? Like that would be kind of like your top 4, top 5. So it's like you're playing one of the best players in Canada.
Exactly. So that's why I was like, yeah, I know a loss is a loss, but at the same time, don't beat yourself down. Like against the top pro, and then hey, you got a silver on open category. Hey, that's good.
Yeah, exactly. And Irene's only thing she said, she goes, we gave them a better match in the round robin than what they did in the finals. Is the only thing that she was annoyed with. Mm-hmm. But like it was funny. Kim came over and actually she gave us a shout out, the podcast, a shout out on the Instagram.
Yes, shout out to Kim. Thank you.
Yeah, so thanks, Kim, and she complimented Irene. Gave her some props there. So that was really nice of Kim. Like a pro player doesn't have to do that. And the fact that she came over and said that was awesome. And then Irene went into the women's singles 3.5 because there was nothing higher than 3.5 for some reason, because Irene normally plays in 4.0, but she's still
that was really odd.
Yeah, because she's still technically ranked 3.5, but she's like a 3. I want to say she's actually like a 3.78 or something like that. Like she's basically someone who would normally play in 4 and is just trying to get that bracket ranking up. Mm-hmm. But there was no 4.0. There was nothing higher than 3.5. So she's like, okay, I guess I'll go in that. And she did get some pushback by her regular partner, Karen Chan. It's her regular partner whenever we go to Regina, because mine doesn't usually travel. So like her and Karen have played together both at the Nationals last year and Western Regionals the year before, and they won together as a team. So they're familiar with each other, but she was the only one to really give Irene any pushback. Like she did take a set from Irene in the round robin. Or not in the round robin, in the bracket. But Irene, other than that, Irene pretty much handled everybody. It was almost like not as big of a jump as like what Kim was in the women's doubles, but Irene's ability compared to all the other women in the bracket, you could see the level difference. Type of thing, right? So like I said to her, as soon as I looked at the bracket, and I was like, okay, maybe Karen will give you some pushback. And then there was one other lady who I thought might give her some pushback, but she ended up injuring herself the night before, so she ended up withdrawing from it. I was like, okay, if you don't get gold or silver, I'm going to be very surprised. Right. So, and she got gold. So she continues her usual winning ways. And now hopefully through this and through some other tournaments that are coming up, she'll make herself a more known quantity to some of these other pro players. So that way, like if she wants to try out for CNPL next year, because I think that was one of the big things with her not being drafted was no one knows who the hell she is. And it's because we live up in Peace River.
Yeah, it's tough. You don't have that exposure from those people, right? And but I think this provincial, at least Kim did recognize probably the skill of Irene. So maybe next year you never know. She's because you have to pick a third female, right, from that team. Then Kim may be thinking, oh, I did play against that. I guess Aireen. Maybe it's a good idea to get her as a backup, or something.
Yeah,
like that.
Right. And like even just to give you guys a break, because I don't foresee them breaking up that duo of her and Christina. But like,
oh, for sure.
10 games is a lot at the pro level over the course of 2 days, right? So even if it's like, hey, just give me 1 game break, like be able to pop in like that. But yeah, so it was kind of like one of those bittersweet things as far as like the play for me. Like I liked the Bronson 4.0. It's going to help push my ranking back up because, like I said, because of that Nationals thing last year, that just really screwed up my ranking. Actually, right now before that tournament, dropped me below. Technically, dropped me below 3.5. I'm at 3.49999.
Oh wow!
Across, but that's like because that guy didn't show up, I couldn't withdraw, so it counts as losing 11-0, 11-0, 15-0. And
That's so
and
weird.
and when you looked at what the actual was supposed to be, because my partner who didn't show up was also a fairly high ranked person, we were expected to win those matches. So when you're expected to win and then you lose to someone who's ranked lower, you drop lower than what, and then they also go up higher, right? So like it dropped me so far down, and then even with the bronze medal finish at the Spruce Grove a couple weeks ago, because it was bronze and I was still kind of I basically didn't move. I basically stayed. I went up and then I went down, then I went up and then I went down, type of thing from the matches that we played. So
Gotcha.
So hopefully this will bump me. It should bump me back over the 3.5 mark. But then I got some work to do to get myself closer to 4.0, which is because I'll be playing with Chris again at the Red Deer Open in 4.0, and that's going to be all round robin matches. So hopefully I'll get some more matches in there where I can bump myself up. But yeah. So as far as playing, not bad, but could have been better. But
well, you did your best. Like,
yeah.
I saw you did your best. At least you met the most important part. You battle.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Yeah, I didn't want to go empty-handed. So the fact that I got the 1 and then Irene got the 2, I would have loved to give her a 3, but wasn't meant to be this time. But that's okay. We'll come back strong next time. So then jumping over to commentary, we both did commentary, and that was fun. I had a blast doing that. The only stressful thing that happened was I had people lined up, and then through either partners getting injured or plans changing, they couldn't make it. So the morning, especially for all 4 days, was rocky. Like if you go to Pickleball Alberta, Pickleball Alberta's YouTube channel and look at the stream, a lot of the matches in the morning, there's just no commentary. Right. And also the score is not really there because the guys in the booth had trouble hearing the refs announcing the score. So they couldn't update the score properly. But then once we were in there, we were able to, get the scores up and running, get commentary going. We were able to do lots of bits for like all the sponsors and stuff like that. So, and I heard nothing but good things from everyone who went in the booth. Like shout out to like Jeff and Allison, who are part of the Pickleball Alberta board, who took some turns going in there and covering. Victor, of course, jumped in and did like what was it, 10 to like almost 5, 10 a.m. to like almost 5 p.m. on Friday.
I think I left at 6, something like that.
Something like that, yeah. Because he told me originally 10 to 3, and then he stayed. And then I came into the booth around like 3:30, and then he stayed in and did a couple matches with me as well. So, but yeah, that was a blast. I had fun. Yeah,
that was fun. I think commentary, like to be alone, is actually pretty bad. To be honest with you, it's like I'm talking to myself. As soon as you kind of jump in, the flow felt much better because now like there's 2 person talking. I don't need to talk every freaking point. Like you can chime in and I can chime. We can chime in our stuff in there. It was so much better when there's two person that commentating.
Yeah, we were able to play off each other, kind of like the podcast. How I did the podcast by myself for the first little bit. It was funny because the guys on the booth said, "Oh, you were pretty good even by yourself." I was like, "Well, I'm used to filling a lot of dead air because I didn't get my podcast partner until about 18 episodes in." But yeah, but I had a good time with that, and we got some really exciting matches. We got to do all the open stuff, and then even a couple matches leading up, especially on the even on the Thursday when I got there at like noon. So this was all like 55, 60 plus. Yep. All of those matches went to like 3 games, and it was like 12-10, 11-9. Like, so it was really, really good, really good high stakes matches throughout.
Nice.
I think there was only one match where it ended because the one lady popped something in like her heel. And that was
I know her. It was Jane.
Jane, Jane, because she was one of the refs too. Yeah,
one of our certified ref.
Yeah, and that was a really good match before that happened because that was in the 3rd set and it was 6-6 when that happened, right? So so that was a little unfortunate for Jane and her partner, but it was a really, really good match up until then. We even had
I was overhearing. I was like, "Oh, they're doing well. And I was like, "Oh, what happened?"
Yeah. and it was cool. We had some stuff. We had some stuff where there was some controversy in some of the matches, so that made for good streaming. We had where they had to call like the head official over for something. There was another one where the official had to deduct a point from a team because the husband was coaching from the sidelines throughout the match. So that was interesting. Then of course, if we do the men's open singles finals, there was a spot where it was a late call on the out by Joel, and then Haddo. It was fine because then he hit it out, and it was like he asked late if it was out, and the refs confirmed it was out. But because he ruled it that way, because it was ruled that way that he asked too late, Joel kept or Haddo it changed serves, but then Haddo intentionally served it into the net to give the ball back to Joel. So you got some good sportsmanship there because Haddo also saw the ball is out off the cross stink. So you got to see some good stuff with that. And then so if we jump before we get into the pro side of it, let's go into the operation. So the wind was a huge factor all weekend. It was so windy, and it was a weird it wasn't even like a north-south. It was like a diagonal cross, like northeast or southeast type of breeze. Like, here's a good one. So when I was playing singles, now I didn't win anything in singles, but singles is kind of like my bonus thing. But I did a lob that was clearly sailing out. The wind caught it and brought it back into the court to the point where my opponent was like starting to walk away knowing it was out. And then he turned and saw it bounce, and he had to like last minute swing at it. And then he put it out, right? So I ended up getting the point from it. And I even said to him, I was like, yeah, I don't know. The wind saved me on that one. But there was a lot, like if you were trying to drive the line down, if you were playing on the south end of the court and you were driving and if you tried to drive the line on the right side of the court, that ball would just catch and drift out. I don't know how many times that happened to me, or even when I was commentating, that happened to a player trying to like do that, like paint the line shot, and then you could just see the wind just go and then just push it just off. So players had to really adjust to that. There was a lot of times now when like someone won the flip to like pick serve, side, receive. Most teams normally will pick serve, but a lot of people were picking sides to like, okay, do we want to hit into the wind or do we want to hit with the wind? Depending on if it was a 2 out of 3 game, right? So,
yeah, the wind was a big factor when I was as a ref. I can first of all feel it because we're standing actually east west, right? So we were either into the wind or get the wind swinging at us at the back, so we can feel it right away. And sometimes at the same time, it's sometimes difficult for us on the on ball appeal because like my main responsibility is watching the non-volley zone, but like I cannot watch like the ball is getting blown away, right? So that's the kind of the difficult part. But at the same time, you can see some players get adapted very quickly. Some players get rattled, unfortunately, by the wind, and then is what it is Red Deer.
Yeah, and it's honestly it's the design of the courts. It's because they're 3 wide. Is why, because like the windbreaker things on the fence only work to a degree, but because it's a little bit wider, like if you were to compare it to Medicine Hat. So for those of you who don't know, Red Deer's courts are like 3 courts wide. So you have 3 courts. So you have 3 rows of courts. Because what do they have? 20 courts?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah. So 20 courts down, but in 3 rows.
Yep.
Right. So whereas if you go Medicine Hat has 20 courts as well, but their thing is longer and it's only 2 courts wide. So because it's not as wide, the wind doesn't have that chance to kind of dip in and then dip out of the courts. Because especially if you were playing in those the courts in the center.
Those are the courts.
Yeah, the wind was ridiculous. And championship and like the featured or championship court was like one of the middle courts. So you really saw it play a factor there, right? So, but that's just weather. You can't really do much about that. You got to adjust, or else everyone's got to deal with it. So, and then as we said when we were talking about the mix, that's my biggest complaint about the
Yeah.
tournament is it's false
change.
it's false advertising. Because
Mhm.
if you go on the pickleball brackets, it was you're either going to be double elimination bracket, or if you have less than, I think it was 6 teams or something, or 5
Yeah.
teams. If 5 teams
5
or
teams
less,
round robin.
yeah, you're doing round robin, right? So, and a lot of people didn't know. I had people coming up because at the one point I was wearing my Pickleball Alberta jacket. I had people coming up to me asking me what was going on. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't even know that was a thing, because at first I thought it was just a glitch on the Pickleball Brackets website that, oh, it's okay, maybe they had so many teams in the bracket that the bracket just didn't organize itself properly on the thing.
From my end, I as a referee, I heard it in the morning. Someone make the decision in the morning, say, oh, we have 250 plus game is it 250 or 160 or something? Anyway, closer to 200 games probably today, and then if we do the A side and B side, we're never gonna finish, and then we have that night thing. So okay, let's then make that decision. We just the B side only can make it to the Browns. And we're like, what? So
Yeah.
that's about my pay grade. I cannot.
No,
I cannot do
exactly.
anything about it.
And even me as being a board member of Pickleball Alberta, that we had, like, that was the organizers of the event. It's not Pickleball Alberta who made that decision.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So and like, I understand that you wanted to get everything done for the social, but it's your busiest. The mix is always the busiest day. That's when you have the most athletes there. So I understand why you want the social that day as well, because that's the time when most people are. However, everyone isn't there for the social, like we said earlier. Everyone is there to play. The social is a bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And like I said, like, I went to the social after I was done commentating the last game. The grand dueling pianos put on a great performance. They got the crowd involved and all that stuff. The food was good, but you could see, especially from those bronze medal teams, frustration. Like, it's like, I have the same record as the silver medal team. I wasn't double eliminated. Right.
Yeah, I know.
So it's like, I only lost one game, so it's not a double elimination bracket anymore.
Yeah, people say I'm not playing the PPA. If I play the PPA, I'm expecting to get robbed, but not that.
Yeah, right. But it's like, no, I paid money for a double elimination bracket or a round robin. I didn't pay money to, if I only lose one game, the best I can do is bronze.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. Like, it's so that's going to be my biggest complaint about that. The other complaint, and this didn't affect me in any way because I didn't play at this level, but the men's 4-5 got bumped into the men's open.
Oh, I know.
Now some of those guys were fine with that.
Mm-hmm.
Other guys were not, because now you ain't winning a medal. Because there's
no way you're gonna beat Brad Chapman.
Because there was 3 pro level teams. There was Brad Chapman and Cam Rich, who won the whole thing. Then you had Haddo and Joel
Peltier.
And then you had Chris Elaine, and Connor Weeks. So that's probably that's the weakest team out of that, and they're still going to beat everybody.
Exactly. So you're right. Like, okay.
So if you look, So if you looked at the bracket, and of course this was on Friday, so this was the proper double elimination, right? Yep. So you could work your way back up. But if you looked at the bracket, so all they did is they gave the pro teams a bye. And then all the 4-5s played each other, so you could win your first game, but then you had to play a pro team the next game, which then bumped you down to the B side. Now you could still work your way back up, but then you knew you had to play a pro team at best case scenario in the bronze match, worst case scenario the game before the bronze match.
Yeah. Oh man.
And actually, no, sorry. Best case scenario was the game before the bronze match, because you knew 2 pro teams were going to be in the semis, so one gets knocked down to the bronze, and then that third pro team would have got knocked out the game before. So then they're in the game before the bronze match. So the best you can possibly do is 5th.
Fourth? Fifth, even worse.
Oh yeah, no, I guess it would be 4th. Yeah. So the best you could possibly do, unless you had a game of your life and one of those guys rolled an ankle, was going to be 4th place, right? So I felt for all those 4 or 5 teams who were like, "What the hell? I didn't sign up for this. I signed up for 4 or 5. If I wanted to play in the Open, I would have signed up for the Open." Right. So I felt
Well,
bad for those guys.
two ways. I see it two ways. Okay, that's one way you see it. The other way, I'll say, well, I'm paying for $90. I'm playing against a pro. I'm probably gonna have to pay $90 to play a pro anyway. So why
Yeah.
not? Just
No,
that
yeah.
would be my other side.
And then it was depending on the team, right? So depending on the team you talked to, they were fine with it. Other teams were like, okay, well, like there was it was more so the 4 or 5 teams like, okay, I know I'm going to be bust. If it was a 4 or 5 division, I'll be busting my butt to get a bronze, right? Whereas say like the 2 or 3 4 or 5 teams are saying, well, no, I could possibly win gold in 4 or 5. Okay, well, I'm looking at this as a good opportunity to see how well I stack up against pros, right? Like, because those are the ones who are already starting to push the boundary of that 4 or 5 already. But those other 4 or 5 teams were like, no, this is like my first time. Like, if it would have been my first time in 4 or 5, and all of a sudden I heard, okay, even if I win my first match, I got to play like Joel and Hato. It's like, okay, right? So it's one of those ones where depending on the team and depending on the players, but like honestly, what they should have done is make the open 4 or 5 and up, like they did for the women's.
Yep.
And if you want to sign up for that, you can sign up for that, but then have just a regular 4 or 5 category, like they did for the women's.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So I was like, don't just all of a sudden club everybody in there because it went from being like, I think a 4 team open to like a 16 team open.
Yeah.
And if you look at the matches after, like there was really good matches that first round, and then it was like blowout. The pro teams met each other, really good match. Pro teams met each other, really good match. Then a pro team in the finals, and then and the pro teams in the bronze.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like, so it was one of those ones
you
where it's like,
you have to understand 4, 5, and pro. That's a big jump.
It's a massive jump.
Exactly. Even though it does not look like it, but you can you can feel it. You can feel their shot selection, their decision making, their reaction speed. Completely different level.
Yeah, well, and then there's also like age categories in regular 4 or 5, and then the open is whatever age.
Yeah.
Right. So guys who say we're going to play in like say a 4 or 5, I think originally the plan was a 10.
I think there was still a 4 or 5 men's age category, if I'm not mistaken.
Was there?
Yeah, I think because I knew that. Yep, there is. So there is a 4 or 5 50 plus.
Oh, yeah, 50 plus. But yeah, so if you weren't over 50, but say if you were 49,
yeah,
then you were in trouble, right? Because like for example, like a really good 4 or 5 pair, Dewey and John.
It was Dewey and oh yeah, if Dewey and John, that would be they have to play.
They had to play in the open, right? So and I don't know.
That was Albert. No, sorry, that was Albert. Albert and John.
Albert and John, not Dewey. It's Dewey and Sanjay, but they can play in the 50 plus, right? Because they won the 50. Exactly. They won the 50. Yeah,
they got bronze. They got bronze in the 50 plus.
Bronze. So Dewey and Sanj. Yeah. So sorry, Albert and John would probably didn't want to play in that open.
It would be rough.
Yeah, like
it felt a little rough when I saw that.
Right. So like, but like aside from that, I thought the tournament went pretty well. Like wind is just something you got to deal with. It's just nature.
Yeah.
But yeah, like my biggest complaint would be the Saturday, just because like I can honestly say, like as someone who it didn't affect me as much as what it did for other people who won bronze. But if you won bronze, you have the right to complain. Well, I should get a silver because I have the same record as the silver medalist.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
Especially if you never lost to the silver medalist. Like if they were on the
probably you never met them.
Yeah, right. Like I know, like for me and Aireen, like our loss was against the guys who won gold, and then obviously the loss in the bronze medal game. But I was
you never met the silver guy.
No, we never played. They were on the opposite side of the bracket. Whereas I know if we played the silver medal team, we probably would have beat them.
Yeah, I know. It's a little disappointing. And on my side, thing on the referee, we're doing pretty good. We got enough referee. We have almost 25 referee per day, so which makes it pretty smoothly. I would say the only complaint I saw most was for the ball itself. There is a lot of time that ball got out of round, and the players were complaining sometimes that back bounce. And indeed, that Jura Fast was for some reason getting a lot of our round.
Yeah, I noticed that's the second year the provincials have used that ball, and I honestly don't like it. Like if I'm comparing it to like the Selkirk or even the Franklin,
Mm-hmm.
I find it carries too much. Like if you hit it even slightly chest height, if the wind catches that, it's gone. It's out of
Yeah,
there.
it's too light. The ball is like too light. Like the Franklin at least is like it's a little thicker. It still may stay on the ground a little bit more. But oh man, that
Yeah,
Durafast is like game over. Yeah, you carry a little bit higher.
yeah.
That gone into the wind.
Well, and I think I broke two by myself, just with slamming.
Oh, yeah, because
That's
it's too
but
thin.
we'll also say that's partly my paddle.
Either your paddle, either
Just
your muscle that you didn't show it.
just to throw in a plug there for Nivea. But
People that's not on the YouTube stream didn't see that Andrew is on tank tops is showing his muscle out.
yeah, I don't have any of my Nivea gear with me because I'm in a hotel, right? So
Yeah,
I gotta do a verbal plug.
sure.
But no, yeah, like out of the balls that we regularly use for tournaments, because Franklin's the Canadian one, so most Canadian ones are using the Franklin unless it's sponsored by something else. Like I know Spruce Grove uses the Selkirk because Selkirk's
Yeah,
supposed to
it's sponsoring.
sponsoring all of those. But normally, then you're dealing with Franklin because I know and I don't have a problem with the Onyx inside. Like if it's like indoor courts, like say at the hub or like the EVPC.
Mhm.
I don't have a problem with it there. It's only when there's weather conditions. I find it gets affected by it too much.
Mhm.
Because like I didn't find the Selkirk ball really got affected by it when I played in Spruce Grove. I've never had an issue. I've never really had an issue with the Franklin ones when I play with them in outdoor tournaments. So
Oh. The Franklin, the biggest problem with Franklin is the heat. I played at the U.S. Open 2 years ago. Oh man, that ball becomes mushy when it was 30 plus, which is perfect for me. I like to drive, so I gotta hit it a heck of it, right?
yeah, and we don't really have to worry about that in Canada because we get 5 days of that.
True. That's true. Yeah, I remember also like during this tournament. Oh man, that Sunday was freaking terrible. That weather, like
Oh
the morning was like freaking freezing. I almost had to go get some gloves, and then like
yeah,
all of a sudden at 12, sun comes out like 30 plus degrees. You have to check all your layers because it's
yeah.
like now
Oh
it's
no, I was wearing my long sleeve for my first couple of single matches because
yeah,
that's how cold it was. So I felt bad for all the refs just having to stand there. At least I got to move around.
yeah, we yeah, here's what it is.
But oh
That's
yeah.
okay. That's part of the job.
Uh, all right. So going into the pro side of things at the provincial. So we had quite a few pros there. We had Brad Chapman, Joelle and Haddo, Kim Layton, Ava, Chris Elaine, and if we want to include Cam Rich and Connor Weeks because they did play pro last year.
Mhm.
So that's a really good turnout for a provincials. Men's doubles, it came down to Brad and Cam against Haddo and Joel in the men's doubles, and as usual, Brad kind of took over. Now Cam played very very good. Like we said
Yep.
last year during the CNPL when he was playing for Montreal, he's very very streaky.
Mhm.
He was in his good side of the streak.
Yep.
For especially in that championship game, he won a lot of hand battles, made some really really good shots. And Brad and him
There's some
won.
part of time. Well, we did the commentary on that match,
Yeah,
right? So there's some part you can see he was getting rattled just a little bit, and Brad was taking calling that timeout on the right spot
yeah,
to just get back. Tell Cameron just go back to your game. Don't get rattled.
yeah.
So
Yeah, and that's been the biggest thing and we noticed that last year with Cam is that like he'd be on and then one or two things would rattle him and then he'd lose his game type of thing. So yeah, good on Brad for seeing that and then calling the timeouts when he needed. Joel and Haddo played really well. It's just Brad and Cam were just on fire
oh yeah, exactly.
that whole day. I didn't get to see Chris Elaine and Connor play. I'm assuming they put up a good fight against Joel and Haddo in the bronze, but Joel and Haddo to Chris Elaine and Connor, especially with Connor. If we wanted to be honest, Connor's probably out of those like 6 men, probably the weakest pro out of the 6.
Yeah.
Haddo and Joel are gonna pound that. And if Chris Elaine couldn't keep Connor calm, because Connor's also known for getting
Oh yeah,
so
Connors can get rattled quite a bit.
if he got rattled at all, then you knew that would have spelled doom. But they still got bronze. But if I was to pre-rate the teams going in, that's probably how I would have had it rated.
Exactly. I agree. Completely agree.
Yeah. And then for mixed, Joelle actually teamed up with Ava Weeks. And
there's a reason. We'll tell you guys later.
We'll get into that.
Tell you guys later.
We'll get into that reason because that just got announced. And they actually ended up beating Haddo and Kim Layton in 3 sets or 3 games. Sorry, in the mixed final. Ava played very, very well. It's like she built off of that good performance at the CNPL. She was just that steady reset defensive player, and she ended up actually catching Haddo a couple times when Haddo would try to speed up. She came in there with that 2-handed backhand and just put it right at his feet. So for Haddo and Kim, like they don't normally play together. It's normally Kim and Brad. So that was probably still a learning curve for the two of them. There was a couple times Haddo went in there probably when he probably should have just let Kim have it. But like it goes to 3 games. Very, very good all the way through. That was a very entertaining one as well to watch, and we got to commentate that one together. On the women's side, we already kind of covered this when we talked about
we
Aireen.
covered the woman.
Kim and her partner Russia and beat Aireen and Mai. And honestly, when I looked at the teams, that's how I thought it was going to go. And we said even before provincials, I think we said like 2 podcasts ago, it's whoever Kim's playing with. Kim and her partner are probably going to win provincials, just because. For pro female players in Alberta, there's no one quite at Kim's level yet.
No,
like we have a couple of pros, but we're not there yet. Even Ava played with her partner Shay in the 4-0. She didn't even play in the Open, right?
Exactly.
And they won that, which they should. But
exactly,
especially if Aireen and Maya have moved up to the Open, right? So
so that opens the free doors for them.
Yeah, exactly. Because like honestly, out of like anyone lower than pro, it's been Aireen and Maya versus Shay and Ava pretty much at every tournament that they go to. So, and then for men's singles, Joel beats Haddo. Chris Elaine gets bronze. I think he beat Connor, right? Is that who he beat in the bronze medal?
I have a feeling.
I can't remember. I'd have to double check.
Let me double check quickly. It won't be long.
Yeah,
I have it open anyway. So give me just a quick second. Brackets. No, wait a minute. Yeah, he beat Connor before he made it to the
before he got to the bronze. Yeah, that's right. Because it was double elimination bracket, right? So and kind of the same way, because Brad Chapman wasn't playing. He only played on the Friday in the men's. That's who Joel and Haddo is normally a toss up. Which one of them is gonna win between the two of them? It's whoever's having a better day. But that's pretty much how I would have predicted that one coming out. And the game between Joel and Haddo was really good. Haddo actually probably had the first game in his hand because he was up, I think, 10-9. And then Joel battled back, won 12-10, and then I think he won 11-6 or something like that in the second game. But very good match in there. There was even a spot where there was some controversy with the line call, which caused a side out for Haddo to serve, and Haddo intentionally served the ball into the net to give possession back to Joel. So really good sportsmanship between the two players. You got to see that. And that was just a really good game. Both guys were basically keeled over, breathing heavy almost. I'd say probably almost throwing up after that game. It was a really fun game to watch.
Nice.
All right, so playing off of that, Joel and Ava playing together, we'll go right into CNPL. We had a massive trade. The West Coast Wolverines trade Jonas and Sabrina to the Rocky Mountain Rush for Joe and Ava. We can kind of maybe assume that's probably why Ava was playing with Joel, almost as kind of like a
it was like how imply.
Yeah, kind of like an interview almost, if you want to say that, unless they knew way ahead of time. But the way for how well Ava played with Joel, I would guess that's going to be like the mixed pair for the next event. I was a little bit I was sort of surprised, but then not really surprised after, because I got to chat with a couple of the pros at Provincials. I got to have a good conversation with Haddo. I had a good conversation with Brad Chapman. Brad thought we were almost dead on with our analysis from the
Nice.
last podcast. So I thank you, Brad, for that. So I was a little surprised to see Sabrina go the other way, as she kind of had established herself as the best female player on the Wolverines. But by the way this is looking, I think the Wolverines are looking more so to, I don't want to say punt, like, you know how people use, oh, they punt one category to bolster other ones. I don't think punt's the right word, because obviously Ava's still a really good player, and so are Sarah and Natalie. But it looks like they're focusing more on bolstering their mixed teams and maybe letting their female team, okay, if we're going to lose one, it'll be the female one, because we know once it comes to championship weekend, Joel and Haddo are the ones playing.
Exactly.
Right? So you know that's your men's, and then you can figure out your women's pairing at the Western Split now with Ava coming over and see who's there. But I have a feeling they're trying to bolster their mix, because their mix is what's been kind of iffy. And like we said after the last CNPL event, they were still kind of mixing the lines a lot, trying to figure out what worked with what. And so I got a feeling, because Ava played so well with Joel, especially against Haddo and Kim.
They probably say, well, it's a good try to go for it.
So I wouldn't be surprised if at the Western Split you see Ava get a lot of play, especially playing with Joel and seeing how well that mixes. And then you'll see Natalie and Sarah kind of get inserted to see who plays better with Haddo and to see who plays better with Ava in the women's.
Yep. Well, at the same time, I think Ava trains with Joel, right?
I'm pretty sure she does a lot of the younger kids around Alberta here. Like if we want to go Ava, Jacob, Shay,
Ben.
And Ben does as well. Yeah. So like if we want to say the four biggest like junior or like 20 and under prospects in Alberta, they all train with Joel. So I can see why that. So Joel's obviously very familiar with Ava. He knows Ava's going to listen when he's doing like comments like, okay, I'm going to take X amount of the floor and you take this amount. And because Ava already plays that style where she plays that very defensive, very like, she doesn't have to be the super aggressive one. That plays right into how Joel plays.
Yeah.
Right. So, and then, and yeah, with Joe coming over, Joe's just a good sub to put in to give them a break. I got a feeling this was more of an Ava for Jonas trade than it was. And then you obviously, because you had a girl for a guy, you had to throw in another girl and another guy
just
to make the numbers work, right? At least is how I'm looking at it, because like the Rush, their biggest issue is the male side. Right, they already have Jordan and Sophia playing very, very well together, and as well as Ava was, as good as Ava was coming in and giving them a break, you know she wasn't going to get a lot of play, right? So if anything, they're bolstering their female side, because with Sabrina coming in now, Sabrina is a very strong women's doubles player, right? So
she'll be the one taking. She'll be the alpha female.
Yeah. Well, she doesn't have to be the alpha female. Like Jordan's still going to be the alpha female there on the Rush, but with Sabrina come in, you still know that you have a very good sub coming in to give her and Sophia a break, right? But I got a feeling that Jonas is coming over because, excuse me,
no problem.
Because right now they're still very green on the men's side aside from Brent, right? So if you have Jonas coming over, here's a guy who already played in the league last year. He's been playing very well this year when he's been getting in for the Wolverines. And he's also been playing a lot of pro tournaments, or a lot of at least 5-0 plus tournaments throughout the year. Whereas Eugene and Joe were very green. And then having Eugene there, so that gives you still a very good player to sub in. But then I got a feeling it's going to be Brett and Jonas would be the starting men's pair, with Eugene being the backup, right? So it looks like the Rush are kind of trying to bolster their men's side, and then the Wolverines are trying to bolster their their mixed side. And that's how this trade kind of came to be, right? So Do you have any thoughts on that, Vic?
I will say it is a good trade. I will say, especially for Ava, I will say definitely favoring the Wolverines more than the Rush at this point. I think the Rush is a little bit on kind of I don't want to say that, but it's a little bit of kind of existing crisis. They don't know, okay, what we're gonna do. We're just gonna throw something and see what's gonna shape up. And then the Wolverines, they have their sight on it. Basically, they know, okay, we need Ava. We just need it. We just have to who we're gonna throw as a pairing with to get her. And then that's it. So I'm expecting maybe the Wolverines might get closer to that fourth or fifth place, maybe. But unfortunately, I do not see the Rush maybe getting out of that last places at this point.
No, yeah, they'd have to go on a massive winning streak, and the Wolverines, like because they've been 4-5 both splits so far.
Yeah, they're 4-5 overall. They're 6, but they're not that that behind by
Yeah, well, yeah, because those middle four teams are almost the same. Because what
yeah,
is it?
exactly.
It's like 10-8, 10-8, 8-10, 8-10 type of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. So that they're not that back behind. So they just want to make that change, see if they can push the boundary and get
Yeah,
to that maybe the fourth place.
yeah, see if it can steal them a couple more matches. Because when you watch them play, it's been on the mixed side where they've been a little. Because Joel and Hato are normally winning unless they're playing like one or two particular teams with really strong mans, and then it can kind of go a 50-50 toss. But when Joel and Hato are playing together, I'll bet against most teams, they're winning the guy fight, right? So, and like their women were doing okay, but they weren't winning
Enough.
weren't winning enough. And then when you had the mix, their mix were very like one team would win, one team would lose. Now the team that was winning a lot of time was the team that had Sabrina on it, but they were trying her with both guys, saying, okay, well, if we try her with both guys, which one does she work with the best, and which one do the other two work the best, right? So whereas if you have Ava come over, it's like, okay, we know Ava's playing with Joelle. Okay, now which of the two ladies plays the best with Hato, and then we can kind of go from there, right? So
yep.
And the other nice thing with Sabrina Lamb going to the Rush is she is from that area of BC, so it'll be easier to go down and get training sessions in with like Brent and some other members of the team.
Agree.
Right. So it's an interesting move. Both teams trying to bolster different points of their roster. And the nice thing also with Jonas being on the Rush is that he can train basically with Jordan and Sophia because he's from that area as well.
Yeah.
Right. So like you'll have three people. You'll have the Jonas and the two girls training with each other. Then you'll have Brent and Eugene who can train with Sabrina. So then you'll at least be able to have 3 and 3 kind of training together. And then Joe's, I think he lives close enough that he'd be able to come over and go to Calgary and train with like Joelle and Hato and Ava, because then the only two players that aren't from like southern Western Canada are Natalie and Sarah, but then they can train together.
Yeah,
in the Toronto area, right? So
that's not a big deal.
Yeah. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But yeah, I got a feeling one of the first games that you see the Wolverines play at the Western Split will be Ava playing with Joelle, and then they're going to be testing out how the other two ladies play with Hato and figuring out the best pairing from there. So.
And then there's still, well, it's not a surprise anymore, but that's kind of make it official, right? I think the Toronto United now officially pick up Sina Ayer. Sorry for maybe butchering her name, because they're saying Hannah Blackwood now is going to be ineligible, and then the East Toronto Smash now picked up Daring Wan to replace Osawa because he becomes ineligible. Do you know what does it really mean, that ineligible?
Well, for Hannah Blatt, it's probably her deal with MLP, I would assume. Okay. For Ozawa, though, I'm not sure because I wasn't aware that, and I do follow him on Instagram, but I haven't seen any posts from him signing with anyone. So I'm not sure with that one, because I know even on the CNPL website it just said they dropped him. They didn't say that they dropped him due to ineligibility. They didn't really specify. I know you said on before we started the podcast, you said on Facebook they actually said ineligible. So we can do a little bit more digging on that, and if we find something, we can update it on the next podcast when we cover the Western split. But
Sure.
no, and Darren stepped in for 2 games for the Smash on the Central split, and I thought he played very, very well. And it's just to give Nathan and Dalbeer a break, because like we said from the Eastern split, Dalbeer was in.
Yeah, Dalbeer was not.
Yeah, his back stiffened up. So even just giving him that 1 game break, then he can go, ice it down, get, if he needs to take a massage gun to it, right? And you could see it in the way he played. Like, he was so much more active and so much more agile at the last one, right? So, and then that's why they went 6-4, right? So it's I would still like to see what the plan for the Smash is for a third female. Like, I know Kim and Christina, you're not really, no one's taking that spot from them, but with Kim having that, now I know it wasn't in the CNPL, it was in the CPA, but when she had that hamstring injury, and then Christina also pulled something at that CPA tournaments as well, it would be nice to have someone kind of sitting there just in case, something starts to feel a little tight, and then you can at least, give them a game break.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Like, they're such a strong team regardless that, like, they could probably pull it off, but like as we've said and as we've seen, the teams that tend to falter on that second day are the teams that aren't utilizing all their subs. Like, we saw it happen with the Rush 2 different times now. Like, because they played pretty good on that first Saturday at the last one. That's when they went 2-3, but then they didn't have a third guy, and then you could see Brett and Eugene start to slow down. But they had 3 girls, and they were using Ava, and then so you were able to see Jordan and Sophia keep up their momentum, and that's where their thing was. Even Montreal at the last one used all of their subs.
Yeah, they use all their subs, and then you see.
Yeah, and then you saw how well that benefited them, because like the one before that, the one where they played the worst was the second day, because all 4 players started to tire out, right? So just being able to give each player, like I said, even if the subs are just going in for 2 games, to give each starter a break, that's all you really need. Like, yes, come championship weekends, those guys aren't getting in, but the whole thing is to give yourself good seeding going into that championship weekend, right? So that's why this Western split coming up is going to be so important. You got to figure out, for some teams, you got to figure out what your starting lineup is. And then you also have to make sure that no one gets injured and you're resting, because there's not that big of a gap between the Western split and championship.
About 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's only 2 weeks. So a serious injury is not going to heal that quickly, right? So it's like you want to keep everyone healthy. You want to obviously do well and build off that momentum. But so like the for that Western split, all of the reserve or all of the sub players should come into play again. And then the only time you'll see them in championship is if someone goes down with an injury. Right. So
definitely.
But yeah, looking forward to seeing how these new teams mesh. And they only got one event to do it before the championship weekend. So, but so yeah, you'll see Jonas get a lot of play with Brent, because I got a feeling Brent's going to be the one starter, and it'll be Jonas or Eugene, whoever takes that spot. But I got a feeling Jonas will probably he'll get the original nod, and it'll be his spot to lose at this Western split, right?
Yeah.
And then same thing for Ava. I got a feeling Ava's kind of has that spot coming in to the West Coast Wolverines, unless Natalie or Sarah can steal that starting spot from her. So it's kind of like a bittersweet thing for Sabrina Lamb, because she was playing so well. Yeah. And now for this last bit of the league, you're the third woman out. Right. So you're only going to get in maybe 2-3 games tops this Western split, and then you're probably not going to get it at all unless Jordan or Sophia go down.
Or maybe, or you never know. You never know. Maybe if you don't play well, their pair up are not as good. Maybe Sabrina can steal one of them.
Yeah, and the only one I think she'd maybe be able to steal would be Sophia. But like we said at the beginning of the season, Sophia and Jordan train together, so they're so familiar, and they play as partners in like all the other tournaments they go to, right? So like it's going to be really hard to like play good enough with the limited time you have to be looked at. Like if this would have been the beginning of the year and Sabrina played the way she's been playing, I would have seen her maybe being able to take a stab at that. But with only one event left, and you're probably only going to get 3 games out of it.
Yeah.
Like unless they totally like play like garbage that first day, and then like, oh screw it, let's just give everyone some floor time the second day, right? But now, mind you, because it's unlikely that they're going to be able to get themselves out of 8, they might just give everyone play and just say, hey, let's just not get injured.
Yeah.
And mess with the lines, because what are they, 3-15 right now? So you need at least one of
You playing 10 match, right? So
yeah,
you basically have to win everything, basically.
Well, not even just win everything. You also need the 7th and 6th place teams to at bare minimum lose 5.
Yeah.
To have 15 losses, right? So I don't foresee that happening with how close all the games have been. So yeah, so like they might like actually, yeah, if I was the Rush, maybe just be like, hey, we're gonna throw everything at the wall this Western split and see what combinations work and use it to ramp ourselves up to try and have to take on either Montreal or the Rollers come championship weekend. Right, because I'm assuming it's going to be Montreal or it's going to be the Northern Rollers getting first place, especially with Ryan Torrenson coming back for the Rollers. If he comes back and they play even if they play the exact same way they were playing at the Central split, I don't see them losing a ton of games. Like they're by far the most balanced team.
Agree.
Right. So yeah. If I was the Rush, I'd maybe just say, yeah, let's get everybody in. Figure out combinations throughout the weekend, keep everyone healthy, and then have at her for championship weekend. And then if you're the Wolverines, Kate, we know Ava's probably going to play with Joelle. Now it's up to Natalie and Sarah to say, okay, who's getting that second spot? Like it's unless Ava totally botches it at the women's doubles, but I don't foresee that happening because she's going to be she's probably going to be the right.
Be pretty solid.
She's going to be solid, especially if they keep her on the right.
Yeah,
and just let Natalie and Sarah. Now the funny thing is though, is both Natalie and Sarah are left-handed.
That's true. Now makes Ava has to go left.
Yeah. Now you could still be that defensive player and let the left-handed person take all those shots.
But still weird.
It's a little weird, yeah. So that's going to be the one little hiccup that might throw you might throw into the Wolverines. Whereas with Sabrina, she was fine being that.
Yeah.
That more aggressive, that more forehand player on the left, right? Whereas, like where Ava, I find Ava the strongest is when she's playing the right. Even when she plays women's. Now, normally when she plays with Shea, I think she plays the left because she's stronger than Shea.
But even so, you can see the her and Shea they switch it up quite oftenly because there's sometimes the momentum is going on correctly and then suddenly it doesn't work anymore. So it's kind of 50-50.
Yeah, and her and Shea are both kind of predominantly right side players.
Yeah, I agree.
Right. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes up. So I got a feeling that the Wolverines are maybe leaning a little bit more towards Sarah. Just going off of some conversations I've had, because Sarah does play a very, very good doubles game. Or sorry, mixed doubles game. She's very good at setting up her partners and stuff like that. And like Natalie is good at that as well, but Natalie excels by far more in like the women's and in singles. Right. So if you're worried about a game going to Dreambreaker, maybe stick Natalie in there, because with her tennis background and her two-handed ground stroke that she does, she wins a lot of those battles. But if you're thinking that you're going to take it in less than a Dreambreaker, I might go with Ava and Sarah then. But we'll see. I got a feeling
We'll see.
Ava's gonna get a really good look, and then it'll be kind of Sarah and Natalie will kind of fight for that second spot.
Mhm.
All right, and we have some upcoming tournaments. Victor, are you playing or reffing in any of these?
There's only one tournament I'll be playing. So the upcoming tournament, basically, well, coming up this weekend, the 19 to 21, the Summer Smash at the Parkland Picklehead. I will be mostly in Minneapolis, but I'll be coming back on Saturday, so I'll be reffing only on Sunday for that tournament. And then the week after, we have the Western Regionals Championship at Vernon, BC. I'll be reffing too because if I play, I lose my ref incentive. So that's why I'm not playing. Anyway, you're not going right on any of those, right?
Not neither of those. No, the Summer Smash, I couldn't get it off work. Aireen is going. She's going to be playing women's 4-5 and mixed 4-5.
She's playing with Anya.
Yeah, she's playing with Anya for that weekend. Then she's going to be playing with Gary Spence.
Okay. Yep.
For the mixed.
Gotcha.
And then we're just couldn't make Western Regionals work this year, but we are going to be playing in the Red Deer Open on August 8th to 11th. And the funny thing about that, well, we're not going to be doing singles, so we're just going to be there from the Thursday to the Saturday. Because for some reason they stuck all the women's stuff on Thursday.
Oh, interesting.
Which is weird because like a lot of these women have jobs.
Yeah, like that's so weird. They put they should put maybe the singles on Thursday.
Yeah, you'd think so, right? But so that messed up Ireen's and Anya's plans because originally she was going to play with Anya in that one, but Anya's working.
Yeah.
So I think she's going to end up playing with Jill Bjornsson because that was who was the only person who was available. Jill got her and her female partner because she played with who did she play with? I can't remember who she played with in the women's open. Oh, she played with Mikkel Hartman.
Okay.
I think they either got bronze or they got fourth. I think in the women's open.
Let's take a look.
I think they got fourth because they lost to Anya and Yan.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Jill's a strong player. She's got a really strong drive. So it's not like it's a massive step down. And then for the pickle party, I don't think I know I'm not playing in that. So I couldn't really. I can't guarantee myself the weekend off because that's also the same weekend that the CNPL is happening. The Western Split.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't get it off. But if I'm not working, I'm debating on if I want to drive all the way to Calgary or not. That's a long drive for me. That's like 9 hours. So I might just be at home and just watch instead. And then we have the Nationals in Halifax on the 21st and 25th of August.
Mm-hmm.
Until I start getting paid, I'm not making that flight.
Red Deer Open, I'll be reffing Saturday, Sunday, and Pickle Party will be my last tournament. I will be playing with Lester again, but from the registration that looks like they're gonna merge probably some brackets because we have only 2 teams, so it does not.
Oh, geez, yeah.
So I think a lot of people are getting ready for nationals probably, so they're not signing up for anything else. So anyway.
Yeah, well, especially because you're trying to save money for those flights, especially if it's anyone from Alberta, right? So
unfortunately, I'm not going to Halifax because of military commitment. But otherwise, I would love to go to the nationals, especially I'm far now.
Yeah, I also have lots of family around, not necessarily in Halifax, but I have lots of family in Newfoundland.
Nice.
And Halifax is like stupid close, so it'd be really hard to. It'd be really hard. It'd be really hard to fly that far and then not go see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. So
I'm gonna ditch you.
Yeah, I'm just like, you know what? I'm not gonna try and open up that can of worms. So we're not.
I know that.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We are playing in just it's like a team style tournament in Prince George on. I think it's the weekend When the heck is it? No, that's in September. Never mind. I think. Yeah, I think my only tournament in August is the Red Deer Open. But then me and Aireen are playing with a couple of players from our club in Prince George for like an ML or like a CNPL style tournament.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. Now the CNPL championship weekend is like the 31st of August to like the 2nd of September.
Yeah, which is the week after the Nationals.
Yeah. So I can't book it off, but I will if I do have hopefully the Sunday off. Like if they tell me I don't have a job on the Sunday, I will be probably driving down just to be there to watch.
Nice.
Because that's gonna be awesome. So
that's gonna be fun. I'll be there for sure. It's Edmonton, right?
Yeah. Yeah, you should also send something to UE or to CNPL saying, "Hey, I can ref."
Yeah, probably I'll tell them I can ref. Do you need a ref? Or I can commentate.
Yeah, exactly. Or commentate.
I can commentate with Andrew. Can you bring Andrew over?
Yeah. So even just to go there to see the pros play, because like when we watched it last year in Edmonton, it was awesome. So
yeah, it's fun.
So just to go watch all those matches and then and maybe get some, if not necessarily interviews, but get to chat with some of the pros and stuff like that would just be a fun time.
Definitely.
All right, and then we had an MLP tournament that happened in the US.
Yeah, and while we have our provincial, there is some big tournament going on in the States, which is we call it the MLP mid-season tournament. So what's the different from this tournament? First of all, it was in Grand Rapids, Michigan. So all the teams have to play. So unlike the last couple of times, that there's team that did not need to play because of it's a regular league. This time they have to play because they have big prize money for the first, second, and third place. So that's why it's important that everyone plays. Let's go for the Premier League first. There's not a little surprise, I would say, but still not as surprising. The New Jersey Fives won. So the New Jersey Fives composed of Anthony Waters, Zane Navarro, Howells, and Hamburg. Basically, because we are in provincial, I wasn't able to watch all the matches, but I did saw some of them. And Annalie was lighting up everyone. She didn't care about it. Was the people that's in front of her is a woman or a guy. She's gonna light them up. So that won them the number one place. So that kind of makes you think, okay, do you really need Ben John if you have any Annalie Waters, right? So that's kind of interesting thinking. And then the second place was DC Pickleball team, which is not a surprise. It was a very good team. They have James Natovich, Rachel Rothbacher, Deco Bar, and Vivian Glossman. And the MVP was Rachel Rothbacher being super solid. And I will say that's probably a type of player that Ava Weeks looks like, basically, if you're on her prime. That will be like a Rachel Rothbacher. So I would say that will be something to look at. Third place, not a surprise, but because they make the right decision on their trade. So it's composed of Kristen Auchan, Huan Duong, Tina Pisnik, and Edo Wright. So what happened is that on the last MLP tournament, they dropped Fabio Teles for Quan Duong. And Quan Duong, during that mid-season tournament, almost won all his game, basically. So that was very, so that the Rangers did make a very good decision to have Quan Duong in, because he basically is super aggressive banger. Is going to drive every ball possible that's in his ability, and that ball is going to go in and makes him, especially during the MLP, very dangerous, having that kind of player. And even myself, I'm starting to actually try to imitate him to be that aggressive. So because that's how you should play in the tournament, right? Sometimes.
No, absolutely.
Fourth place, Dallas Flash, the Johnson brothers, so J-Dub and Georgia Johnson, and Tyra Black and Augie Gee. Another strong team. It's just they never met ranchers with Kwangdong, so that was I will say that was a reason they lost. Couple of like surprise and disappointment. So one surprise is there is actually a game. So all MLP games is basically rally scoring, right? And people are like, oh, rally scoring, they're gonna finish at 25 regardless. No. There's one game that finished 40-38. Ouch.
Oh wow.
Ouch! It was Tyson McGoffin and Paris Todd that one from the Orlando Squeeze. They were playing against CJ Klinger and Jade Kawamoto from the New York Hustler. So that was a very close, entertaining match. So sometimes like, oh yeah, we're gonna finish early with rally scoring. Does not look like it in pro. Sorry. And the major disappointment, unfortunately, is the Carolina Pickleball team club, which is the John's bro, Andrea Coop and Jesse Irvin. It was a blowout. They didn't win anything. They didn't win even one match. That's
Oh wow.
ouch. Like they said the Jonesboro was looking disinterested. They just basically didn't want to win, and then the women's unfortunately was losing as a blowing game all the time. So it's not looking good right now. The Carolina Pickleball team is like a big red flag right now. They need to do something about it. Otherwise, they won't be able to salvage their season. On the challenger side, I would just go quickly. First place, which is the Brooklyn Aces. It was kind of normal because now you have Pablo Teles that was coming from the Premier League. So and then you just have him on the challenger for sure. He's gonna dominate it. You have Teles, Pediciminte, De La Rosa, and Sleeve, and then the second place was the Las Vegas Night Out with Scarpa, Castillo, Iwan, and Haudi. Third place is the SoCal Heartaches, which is Newell, Mambu, Tarasenko, which is the Gold Up MVP, and Lange. And for fourth place, the Miami People Club with Oshiro, Kiliff, Alskin, and Rain. But what is actually not surprising, I would say what was happening that stand out during that challenger match is that there is a very, very, very bad line call during a match. So what happened usually on all matches on the MLP, they should have camera challenges. Okay? So you can challenge a call from referee, or you can challenge a call from player. But unfortunately, on that day, they have a rain delay and they have to go inside. And on the indoors, they weren't able to set up any camera. So a player, I don't want to name the player, called. You can see on Instagram, you're gonna find it. But she called the ball out that the ball was basically 3 feet inside the pickleball court. Like from the line, like 3 feet, almost like 2 to 3 feet. There's like basically no way that ball was going out. Like even like her bench, when she called the ball out, the bench was like, what? Like they're super surprised. Like why did she call that ball out? And unfortunately, the referee wasn't able to see it because the view was blocked, so the referee couldn't overrule it. But that looks pretty bad. When a ball is like 3 feet in and you call that out, I'm sorry, that's looking really bad on you.
Yeah, exactly.
So and then next up, they go back to regular season, so not all the teams gonna play again. So 25th on the end to 29th of July during the Western Regional, they will be playing at the Salt Lake City gonna be indoor facilities at the Pickler, so it's gonna be interesting. That will be the first MLP that's playing like in a real indoor facility.
All right, and then we have a quick equipment corner, Victor.
Yeah, unfortunately, I didn't bring that paddle to show you. It's my fault. Sorry.
No, it's all good.
Sorry about it. So I did have the Fat Boy, so people that has a YouTube channel can see it. So this bad boy is not out for sale yet. I was able to get it from Bread and Butter because one of their affiliates, so they are able to send me this paddle. Very interesting paddle. Like you look at it, well, okay, it's fat because it's white, so that's why they call it a fat boy, right? Because I have another paddle that has a similar shape. It's called the just get it. Sorry, it's called this Spartacus Apollo. If you look at it, they look really similar, right? You look at the paddle, they basically look similar, but it's just on the taper. If you put it together, the taper looks a little different from it has a more streamline. This one like cuts down very abruptly. I would say those are perfect reset paddle. I was playing on Monday. People were slamming at me. I was resetting like crazy with those ball. People was like, what are you doing? Why are you resetting every ball that we're smacking back? I was like, it's not me. It's the paddles doing this job.
Yeah.
and then that has a massive sweet spot. I have like a couple ball hitting like right on the edge, still go through go beyond the net, and people are like, what, you mishit it, how you could go over the net. Like, paddle, my friend, that's why you get more paddles, people, right? Right. The field of this paddle feels very nice. I really like the crits and solid feel of this paddle. Is a little, it will be a little bit more expensive. I think it's going to be in the 150 170s US, compared to the Spartacus Apollo is about in the 110 US. So therefore I can't say one is better than the other, because they have their benefit and disadvantage. Because this paddle is definitely much stronger. It's more all core paddle, versus this one I will say is a more control paddle. Because when I was in at the net, my dinking was going going very shallow. I was able to shape it very nicely, but I'm lacking kind of that pull away power that I used to have on my other paddle. So, and this, I don't have a problem when I smash people, but I will have some occasional pop up with this. Compared to this one, I barely have any pop up when I play. So that's the newest paddle I got. Going to Minnesota tomorrow, might be picking up a couple paddles back. So I'm not sure yet which paddles I'm gonna be able to get, but definitely gonna have more paddles. So you see, my table is filling up already at the back. It's gonna keep piling up eventually.
Yep. Yeah, and my only thing for Equipment Corner is I got my new shoes are coming in tonight, so I'm getting another pair.
Oh, your
of
new
those,
Skechers?
Yeah, the hot pink ones.
The hot pink ones, nice.
Yeah, the Swiper Pro ones. Yeah.
I like that. I like that color. It looks sharp.
It does. Like, I saw it when they posted that online. I was like, it was either that or like plain white. And I was like, well, plain white's boring, man. Like, I don't care. I was like, I'll take hot pink.
Yeah,
Looks awesome. So yeah, because my other ones are almost toast. I've worn them now for, I think I got them at the end of last year. So I think I wore them at Nationals.
Okay.
And then I wore them all through like the winter club season, which for anyone who's been listening, that's when I'm playing the most for club, because our club is more of a winter club and we play inside of a rec center. So so I wore them down to the point where like, okay, they're not indoor anymore, they're outdoor shoes. And now I'll probably use them for like regular play, and I'll save the hot pink ones for tournaments just to keep them for a little longer. So
yeah, and keep it sharp for your medal photos.
Exactly, right.
That's it.
So I think that's everything for this one. We'll probably. Do you want to be back before or after the Western Split, Vic?
I'm going to be after, because after the Western Split, I'm going to Vancouver. I'm making a trip out of it, so I'll be in Vancouver. So I'll be back after the civic holidays.
Oh yeah, okay. So we might as well wait till after the Western Split's over, then we can do a full Western Split cover. We can talk about Western regionals, and all that fun stuff, and then a lead up, and then leading into nationals and the eventual championship series for CNPL.
Exactly.
All right, so thanks for watching, everyone. We will see you guys in about we'll say 3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone to listening.